Hi guys, Jangro here, and this to my left is a modular router. Modular routers is an amazing automation mod. To say that it allows you to move items from one chest to another is just scratching the surface. There's so much you can do with this. Once you have your head around its capabilities, you can automate just about anything that involves items, energy, fluids. I've got my base here that I've got lots of things that I want to automate. You can see some of these machines around here from different mods and vanilla. I've got a farm over here that I want to do some automation on, for example. And we're going to do all of that in this video. Now you can watch hour-long videos that go through every little detail of modular routers, and you should. There's some great info out there. But I'm just going to go through some practical examples, and in the process, we will hopefully learn how to use modular routers. Now, it's important to note that I am on an SMP right now. Supporters of my channel are actually developing a new mod pack, which will hopefully be available soon. So subscribe to the channel to keep up with that. So I'll explain what this thing is doing and a whole lot more. So stick around. Speaking of playing on an SMP, if you want to play with your friends on a mod pack that has modular routers on it, there are a whole bunch of them. Just go to Apex Hosting, sponsor of this video, and get yourself a server in less than 5 minutes. There's one-click mod pack installers, 24/7 support, DDoS protection, always on server, ready for your friends and you to play on together. If you do check them out, use my link, jangro.com/apex. Be sure to get the checkout code for 25% off and click Get Started. Thanks to Apex for sponsoring this video, and thank you for your support. All right, let's get on with modular routers. Okay, let's take a look at how the modular router works. The router itself can hold up to a stack of a single item that goes in the buffer. In that sense, it's a very simple one-stack hopper. You put items called modules in the 9 module slots. These are the instructions that are executed from left to right, and modules themselves have their own instructions inside them. All of the modules get executed once every cycle, and the modules do things like pull in an item, push it out to somewhere else. The upgrades enhance the behavior of the router. They can make it go faster, run on more items at once, change it to a fluid or energy processing router, and more. The Eco Mode button allows the router to slow down and process only once every 5 seconds instead of every 1 second or faster if it's idle. Then when something happens, it goes back to normal speed. This makes it a very server-friendly processing mod. And finally, the Redstone mode, we see this working here because I've got this lever on top, but if I turn it to always, then the router is always going to go through this cycle as long as it's got something to operate on. The simplest router function is probably just what you see here, to pull from an adjacent inventory and send items in a straight line to another chest. That uses a puller module configured in the direction of the container, and then a sender module configured in the direction of the destination. You can see here when I hover over it, all of its settings are displayed in a nice tooltip here. If this was in our hand, we could right click on it, or we could hit C or the middle mouse button to open it up. Now inside a module, I can configure what direction it's pointing in. Over here is some very advanced filtering, blacklist, whitelist, but we have no filtering here, so it's going to pull anything out of that chest. Right here, the sender module is sending to the right, no filtering, which is why it is sending stuff over here to that chest. Now, there are different levels of puller and sender modules that allow you to basically reach farther distances. This is the Mk2 puller, which can only pull from an adjacent chest, and the Mk2 sender can only send items in a straight line to 8 blocks, which you can see here in that range. But with some upgrades, you can send up to 16 blocks. We'll touch on the higher level pullers and senders in a later example. Now, it's important to note that moving items to and from inventories are basically the same as if you were doing it with a hopper. Some containers, like a furnace, have specific sides that you must interact with to access their various slots. Modular routers work in the same way. And so to put fuel in a furnace with an Mk2 sender, you'd need the router above the furnace with the sender pointing down. Our chests here don't have any restrictions, so we have the puller configured to pull from the left side and the sender configured to push to the right. And that's it. You can probably picture all kinds of things you could do with this. All right, let's do some more fun stuff. In this chest, I have, by the way, all of the modules and upgrades and augments that I'm planning to use in this video. To craft these things, there's really not that many. Here's all of the items in this mod. It's very simple, but the possibilities are basically infinite because you're combining them all in a router. So here's the router. There are blank modules and augments and upgrades. And then you craft these with simple vanilla items like these to get all the different types of modules. For the first one, we're going to use a vacuum module, a sender module, and of course a router. And the first thing I want to automate is the item drops from these chickens over here who are constantly dropping eggs, and a really simple cactus farm, which I don't have running right now because it makes a mess. But if we just put a sign around the faces of these oak planks, as these cactus grow up, they'll break the very top block. Standard cactus farm. These modded cactus have prickly pears on top, so there's an extra item that they drop as well. And what we want to do is put things in this chest here. This is kind of our central storage chest. It represents whatever storage you have, whether that is a storage controller or a chest connected to your applied energistic storage with an import bus, or an Ender IO chest that's going to send all the items elsewhere, or just a chest. So we're going to put our modular router right over here. In it, we're going to put the vacuum module and the sender module. Let's configure the vacuum module. It doesn't necessarily pull from any direction, and we'll have no filtering. So we're just going to put it in here. You can see in the tooltip that it's got a range of 6. We'll put it in here. Immediately, we're going to see it start to pick things up. So there was an egg over there. It just pulled it in, and it's sitting here because it has nowhere to send it. Now let's configure our sender module, and this is facing in my direction. So we're going to send out the front. Now, when we put this module inside here, just like the previous example, it's going to send this egg over to this chest. And there it goes. Now, if we turn on this cactus farm like this, you can see that it is going to pick up all these things in a 6-block radius. So there we go. I got a few of these myself. You can see this thing is picking the items up and sending them over to the chest. Now, 6 blocks isn't quite enough to get all the eggs from the chickens. So let's take a look at the range up augment. We put a range up augment on the vacuum module. I hit C, and we can put a few of these in here, and it just grabbed an egg. I don't know if you caught that, but there was an egg just a little farther away. So now the range on this module is 9, and that is far enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. To get all the eggs from these chickens. There you go. Now we have a cactus farm and an egg farm thanks to the vacuum module. All right, let's keep going. We're going to do more with those things later on to process them. Next, we're going to process the garden. We need, for this, 2 routers, a sender Mk2, a vacuum module, all of which we've done before, but this activator module is new, and we need a hoe. And we're going to harvest this garden automatically. And we're going to do this with the activator module, which is pretty neat. It basically acts like a player, and it's got some extra options over here. Right click entity, attack entity in directions, and whether you're sneaking or not are all options. We just want the defaults for this because a hoe, you right click crop, and a diamond hoe has got a pretty good range. All right, so we're going to need 2 modules for this one. First router right here, this is going to do the harvesting, and we need to put the activator modules in here, and we're doing 4 of them because we're going to harvest in 4 directions. When I put a hoe in here, it's going to harvest the crop on either side, and because it's a diamond hoe, it's going to harvest a bunch of crops around it. So we just need to configure each of these. This one's going to go front, back, left, and right. You can see they're actually harvesting because you don't actually need a hoe to harvest. It's just a right click, right? And now when I put the hoe in here, that's going to harvest in a larger range. Now, because the buffer is filled up with a hoe, it can't pick up anything. So that's why we need a second router. We'll put one right here. This is going to send stuff into this chest over here that I've already got. And this one's easy. We just put a vacuum module right here, a sender, Mk2 Sender, which again sends in a specific direction. It's got no direction, so we configure it to send out the front. And there it goes. It sent that wheat. And that's it. Now, as these crops grow, just the ones adjacent to the bottom router, then that side will get harvested, and the diamond hoe will cause the whole range around it to get harvested. Okay, armed with a little bit of bone meal, I can test this thing out. So if we make this wheat grow right here, there you go, and they all get picked up. All right, what's next? So I want to send half of the eggs into that furnace to turn into fried eggs, and half into this chest because we might need the eggs for something else. And to do that, we're going to use this distributor module. To configure it, we need to set an egg whitelist. It sets a round robin, and it's sending out of the router. We can also pull into the router from other locations as well. Remember I said earlier on a furnace, sides matter, so we shift right click with this on the top of the furnace, which sets this distributor to place things in that's only in that top side of the furnace, which is how you put things in a furnace with a hopper. We move this sender over here. That's the catch-all. And this one, we also needed to put it on this chest. Okay. And now if we put eggs in here, they're going to go to both locations in a round robin. Now, these furnaces need to be powered, and I have this external heater here, which is from immersive engineering, which heats furnaces touching it. So we're going to heat all of these things with FE power, which I'm going to get from this energy battery here, which was previously powering this mechanical squeezer. I'm just going to move that over here. And we put another router down right here. Now this is configured to get power from this battery. This is integrated dynamic stuff. And for this, we use an energy upgrade, which will cause this router to turn into basically a battery. And then we use the energy distributor, which works exactly the same as the item distributor. And we can power the receiving end on this heater, which in immersive engineering is an orange dot. And we'll also power this mechanical squeezer. And now when we put this distributor module in here, it's going to start powering that heater and the furnace will power up. You can see that it's filling up, and when it reaches enough power, it will turn on. There it goes, and it is now smelting the eggs. It's going to turn them into fried eggs. They're getting pulled into those hoppers. Finally, we need to get these things out of here. Now these fried eggs are going into this modular router, and we're going to use this sender module Mk2 to send the fried eggs back into this chest. There they go. Finally, let's use this other Mk2 Sender Module to send the cactus into this mechanical squeezer. We'll just send all of it because a sender module doesn't do round robin. We right click on the squeezer. Side doesn't matter on a squeezer. And we put that there, and that will send cactus into the squeezer, which turned the cactus into green dye. And with another router, we could send the green dye back into the central storage chest. When you squeeze cactus, it fills up with water. So let's finally process the water. One more modular router and these two fluid modules. We can put modular router right here with two fluid modules. One is going to pull into the router, and eventually we're going to want to filter that on water. Now it won't pull the water into the buffer because it needs something to store the water in. So we put a bucket here. We also need to set the side to the back. It filled this water bucket up with water, and now we just want to trash the water. So what we'll do is put a second fluid module here. It's going to transfer out, force it, so it will dump water even if there's already water there because we just want to trash it, and we'll send it down into the ground, into this hole. We put this right here. It transfers the water into the hole. It will force the water into that same space and throw it away. So there you have it, some full base automation with modular routers. There's just so much you can do with this mod. I hope you give it a try and come up with some cool ideas. If you do, let me know in the comments what you're doing with it. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I appreciate you.